Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys and girls, and welcome to this. Oy vey. It has not been a good lifetime. First, though, I hope nobody is tired of little Bad Ears McGee, because little Bad Ears McGee is still next to me. I have had such a bad day this past 3 days that little Bad Ears is still in his little cage next to me. I haven't had a chance to bring anybody else out for rotation, so it's just little Bad Ears. But he's a good hamster. I was afraid he wasn't running on his wheel anymore. The only one I ever really see run on his wheel anymore is Charvy. And he's always running in his wheel in his cage, but I never see little Bad Ears run on his cage anymore. When I came into the computer room at 6:30 this morning, guess who was running on his wheel? Yep, little Bad Ears, just running and running and running. Okay, little guy, you're confused and frightened, so here you go back into your nest. You go back into your funnel nest. Because he's got a little funnel spider nest. It's just exactly like a funnel spider. I mean, it's like the funnel spiders, they have a little trapdoor, like a trapdoor spider, funnel spider. They're the same thing, different mechanism, but same thing. Trapdoor spider has a big bunch of web around it, and when something walks on it, they pop out of the trapdoor. These other types, the funnel spider, they just wait inside of a hole with no trapdoor, and when something walks on it, they rush out, grab it, and then rush back in. That's the kind of little thing he's got. He's got a mound of bedding, and out the side of the bedding, there's this little track that runs in. So even though it's a mound of wood shavings and tissue, he still goes scurry, scurry, scurry into this mound, and he's got his nest underneath there. And it's got this little running funnel area. It looks really cool. It's really cute. So he's my little funnel hamster, waiting for seeds to fall onto his web so he can rush out and then grab them and then rush back in. Yesterday was a very, very bad day, which it's kind of vindicating in a way. When I originally got this computer all put together, I wanted to see how the length and health of the drives was. So I got a smart drive checking program. I got another blob of dental adhesive. It's probably going to work its way loose, and if it does, then I'm going to have to try and find a piece of tissue. Oh, it's been such a bad day. I've got to get a piece of tissue. There, finally got one, so that I can pick it out and get rid of it. But when I got the original thing, I checked on just a regular smart drive thing, and it said the C drive, the new SSD drive, was not that healthy. My brother-in-law insisted, you can't check, that's an SSD, you have to do it a different way. So I got a different method of checking them, and it said that the C drive, the SSD drive, was fine. 2 years later, the SSD drive has died. Turns out that the check that I did was pretty accurate. It was in trouble and dying just from the very moment that it was put in. Thumbs up. So the C drive died. My SSD. Bloody. I always glue my teeth in just before I start. And I know it's rough. I hate having dentures myself. I think I look like a monster. A literal monster. Like, you know, like a supernatural creature without my teeth. Just something hideous that needs to be spiked in the darkness and left to rot. So I don't like not having teeth. And I wish I didn't have these things, because I've almost choked to death several times, because the inside of your mouth is much smaller and it pushes food backward down your throat. I've been walking eating pieces of candy, and then I once had to really go to get it back up because my dentures went and shoved it back down. I almost choked to death. But back to what I was saying, which was what? What was I talking about? Oh, this is the wonderful part. Again, I've got fibro and depression and brain damage from my alcoholism. I was talking about my C drive, my SSD drive. So it failed. But what happened was, yesterday I had everything working fine. It was great, working perfectly. Not yesterday, day before. Thursday night, everything is fine. I put it into hibernation, as I always do, because my CMOS battery has been failing since I got the thing, and it's just been getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, so that every time I turn it off and turn it back on, I'd have to go into the BIOS to recover the CMOS info. And so I come back in Friday morning, turn on my computer, and it goes through the post, the power on self-test, and checks every one of my drives and comes up to the C drive, the SSD, and just says, whoa, you need to back up and replace. The smart thing has indicated this is failing. You need a new drive. We're not going to go any further. Well, that was bad. I didn't know what to do. And so I went for a 7-mile round walk. Literally, 5:30 in the morning. Walmart is 3 miles away from here. So because I didn't know what to do, it was 5:30 in the morning. I couldn't call or talk to anybody. My computer was dead. It was sit here and be freaked out or burn off my energy. So I grabbed my umbrella because it was raining, and I headed out to Walmart 3 miles away. And I walked all the way to Walmart, and then I walked around in the store for like 2 or 3 minutes. Didn't bring any money. That wasn't the point. The point was to walk. And then just immediately turned around. I spent like 2 or 3 minutes inside the store and then turned around and walked back home. Except I didn't walk back home. I also took a larger path up and around to extend the walk and the time, because it was still only 8:30 in the morning. So it was about a 7-mile round trip walk yesterday morning before I finally got back. Called my brother-in-law. Said, my CMOS battery is dead. Does that affect drives? And he said, yes, it does affect drives, but not an SSD. So great. But just in case, I actually finally, you see, I had ordered a pack of batteries, the Sony CR2032, which is the battery my motherboard is. The thing is, that doesn't cover any of the information on the battery in anywhere. Here we are. In my motherboard book. All it does is on a couple of the pictures of the motherboard, it has a little round thing that says battery. And then that's it. They don't talk about the battery. They don't tell you how to replace the battery. They don't tell you what happens with the battery. They talk about absolutely everything else except the battery. So I had to figure out how to change the battery all on my own, because it's got a weird, it's in a circle, but you've got to retract one little piece because it's got 2 little fangs that go out over the battery to hold it down. And on this side and on the other side, it's underneath a plastic lip. So you've got to retract the fangs so that the spring will go poing and shoot the battery out. When you've only got big clumsy fingers, that ain't easy. Finally got the battery changed. Checked it out, and the SSD drive was still dead. Well, at least the battery is changed now, so my CMOS and my BIOS is in better shape. But after doing that, I still had to figure out what to do. So after calling up my brother-in-law, who was profoundly unhelpful, but he's the only person in town I know of to call, his general advice was, well, you'll have to wait till later on tonight for my son to get home. Or, well, you're screwed. And so that was it. That was the extent of the advice and what to do. So I had to figure out what to do. I got on my PlayStation 4 because I couldn't even get onto Twitter on my tablet because the password had changed and I couldn't remember the password, and I couldn't remember the password to sign into Google, and so I couldn't remember anything. I was doomed. But I remember my PlayStation 4 was still on and such. So I got onto there, found some friends, and there was Anthony Ornelas, and I texted him and I said, I'm doomed. My computer is dead. Can you help me? Just let people know that I'm not dead. And so he went and left some messages. Thank you so much, Anthony Ornelas. You helped me out incredibly. But because of that, Jamie's Division saw that, got in contact with me on PlayStation. We talked. I tried to figure out what to do, because I wanted to reinstall it on, sit my Windows onto a different drive. And then so I went and checked on it, and it said, oh, that's an MBR drive. You need a GPT format drive. What? I guess the SSD is a GPT drive? Or something? I'd never heard of GPT. I don't even know what that stands for. I know MBR is a master boot record drive, and so that's what all my IDE drives are. And so my Windows 10 was telling me all of my IDE drives were MBRs and it would only install on a GPT drive. So I couldn't even install Windows. No drives were available. Jamie's division, once again. We were still talking on the PlayStation, me with my controller having to type stuff out, and occasionally, because it's a USB keyboard, unhooking my keyboard, hooking it in over there, and then having to unhook it and then rehook it back in over here when I had to reboot my computer to try and figure out what to do. He finally figured out what we had to do to convert an MBR drive to a GPT drive. I have 2 drives that are ½ gigabytes. Those were the only ones I was really willing to give up because I have an external 3 terabyte drive and an internal 1 terabyte hybrid drive, half SSD, half IDE. It's a hybrid. I don't know how they work, but there you go. And so I didn't want to give up a full terabyte of data. I've got stuff that's old and amazing, and I don't want to give it up, even if I only look at it once every 5 years. So I converted one of my D drives over to a GPT, which is bad because both of my D drives have errors. So at any time, Windows could fail. So I converted it to a GPT, installed Windows 7, I was back, started updating it, got to the very end, the last of the updates for Windows 7. I'd been doing it for like 7 hours, waiting so I could update to Windows 10 and go online because I just wanted to have Windows 10 install over the top of the Windows 7. That's what I did before and it worked out really well. And so it does that last update, it reboots my computer, and then comes up with a black screen that says, there was an unauthorized change to the hard drive. We are locking this hard drive. You need to choose a different drive to boot from. What? And so I just had to start over from scratch. It's 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, oh my God, I've spent 6 hours and now the hard drive's locked because of this. So luckily, I discovered I had a Windows 10 media install set up on this little stick. So after 6 hours, and I haven't tweeted about this, I said, you know, I bet what's going to happen is I'm going to have to reformat it after I spent all this time, and then boom. So immediately, this reformats the drive so it can be used. So now I've got a fresh Windows 10 install. I worked till 1:30 in the morning last night trying to get this thing ready. Went to bed. Ow, something's in my eye. Probably aqueous and vitreous humors. Those are the fluids of your eyes. The ones before your iris, your lens, and then the one behind your lens, the large chamber, the small chamber. I can't remember which is which. But point being, I have a fresh Windows 10 install. I have been working with this thing and fighting with it to get it working. It's updated. It's finally working. There have been some issues. They couldn't get one update to install. I had to go on to Google, find out what to do. I had to open up a PowerShell, do a bunch of really weird commands so that it would work. Finally, it updated. Well, it needs to update, so I need to find out if it's going to work. So that's been fun. At least it's working. So this morning I've been doing stuff, and of course Windows 10 is still fighting me like a demon. I installed IrfanView, which is, just a picture viewer. Quick picture viewer and editor. And I installed that and I tell it to, I got something in my eye. I tell it to change all picture formats to IrfanView under the program affiliations. And immediately upon finishing the install, Windows 10 says, we've detected a change, changing that back to Photo Viewer. We've detected a change, changing that back to Photo Viewer. And so I had to go in, and I don't use Photo Viewer, and I just went, get app X package, remove app X package, Photo Viewer, and brrr, it's dead and gone. I could have just gone into default programs and changed that, but screw you. I don't like that sort of activity. If it plays fast and loose with my rules, bye-bye. So it's up and running. It's a really slow drive. It's one of my slower drives. I need to save up and get money somehow for an SSD drive, which means I'm going to have to reinstall again. If you can, please, please, please donate to my GoFundMe or some such that I can get an SSD drive. That would be awesome. They're only $100, apparently, my brother-in-law says. And it used to boot up before with the SSD drive almost instantly. Now it's minutes. When I went to use a program before, it was click and up. Now it's click, wait upward of 10 seconds before it finishes loading off my D drive. My drives are supposed to be loading and doing data transfer at about 200 megabytes per second. The drives that I have available to me are about 40 to 80 megabytes per second. Thumbs up. Anyway, though, I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments on my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank 20 to 25 people. It's arranged because even though I'm counting on the fingers on my hand in American Sign Language right in front of my face, I still got lost, confused, and lose my way. So if I lose track of where I am, that's why it's arranged. If I mispronounce your username, no disrespect. I'm an American English speaker. And I'm not reading the comments now. I'm going to read them later. I'm going to thumbs up everyone I read, answer as many as I can, but for right now, I'm just thanking you for leaving a comment. Good comment, bad comment, indifferent comment. Thank you for having left a comment. That is awesome and appreciated. Thank you, especially after this last lifetime I've had. So opening up Chrome where I have my comments, there is Shaman Ninja, thank you so very, very much. And RXYXZ, thank you very, very much. Tyler Bennett, greatly appreciated. Zachary Cox, thumbs up and thank you. And there is Kotak, greatly appreciated. Ben_Daddy YT, thank you so much. Mente Toxica, I hope, thank you. Larry Bobbington, thank you very much. Lola James, greatly appreciated. Aqua_YT, thank you very, very much. Muse Doom, thank you. Conspo Lopez, greatly appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you all. And of course, Jamie's Division, thank you. Anthony Ornelas, thank you again. And then Lean SMK, greatly appreciated. Pepsi Sepsis, I like that name, thank you very much. Tribe Judah, greatly appreciated. Jake Blade, thumbs up and thank you. That Channel, greatly appreciated, thank you. Me Gusta, am I 20? Or, well, it's 21 now. And then there is Ender Jones, thumbs up and thank you. Spectre Gods, thank you, thumbs up. Pames, greatly appreciated. And last but not least, The Lonely Telekinesis. Thumbs up and thank you, each and every one of you. As stated, you get me out of my head, into the world, dealing with the real world, real people, and that is such a good thing. I have not had a good lifetime, starting with the physical and sexual abuse as a kid, all going up to the alcoholism and the death spiral that ended up in my 30s, and then my wife dying, my mother dying now, which happens. But still, it is not a nice landscape behind these eyes. So thank you so much for getting me out of my head into the world and dealing with people. If you could check out my links, I have Twitter, Facebook, GoFundMe, Patreon.com, Google+. That'd be awesome if you could check those out. Please, if you could donate to my GoFundMe or become a Patreon.com patron like one of these beautiful and awesome people. I need to get a new home. I need to do something. I'm dying from lack of money here. I need to move. I'm going to still go contact now, especially get into the system at the Veterans Hub so I can live in a place that I can afford. But I need to get an SSD drive too, because this drive that I got is going to die soon. And if you could toss me a like, that would be greatly appreciated. I do appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence. If you could subscribe, that was hard to say, to the channel, that would be cool. But I would understand if you don't want to, but if you are down with it, I will do my best to keep you entertained from now until the literal end of time. Yes, I talk with my hands. I am largely Italian, even though there is probably no Italian in me. I am largely Scottish on my mother's side, but that's okay. I have no idea if I'm going to have a reaction video today. I'm hoping to. Uh-oh. It's now doing a bunch of stuff, so hopefully Windows is not going to reset on me. It just popped up a command window and did stuff. But anyway, and I got a game video, I hope, a reaction video, I hope. So you take care. Have a great day today. If I go dark again, it's because this drive has died. So take care. Have a great day. I will see you on the flip side. And that, my friend, is a very, very good thing.